You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona, and as always, we are my good friends.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And Shannon G. and Mesa AZ.
And we'd like to welcome you to this week's episode. This is actually our final episode for the year. It's 2024 year-end review, I guess, and it's been quite exciting. And we just spent the last 30 minutes just kind of chatting with ourselves before we started the podcast, so it's kind of caught us laughing at some of the funny stories that we don't really get to put on air, but we should. We should have it. We should have an opportunity to do that.
Show.
Well, that'd be late night show.
The pre-show, late night. Yeah.
That's right. Come on to the podcast.
Not safe for work.
Come on, baby, after hours.
That's
Let your
funny.
hair down if you have hair.
Too late.
Yeah, those of us that don't have hair. It's funny. Most of us are in it. I can't remember where I went the other day, and somebody, I didn't have my hat on, and somebody goes, I go, what? They go, I think this is the first time I've seen you without a ball cap on. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I was out at the field or somewhere, and I had taken it off. But anyway, it was kind of funny. You don't realize it. But, yeah, I was looking back through all the podcasts, some of the other stuff, and I'm almost always wearing a ball cap. So it's kind of one of those things.
Well, at least he wasn't like,
self-conscious.
Put your hat back on. I can't see very well.
Yeah.
Shine off
Hey,
of that.
Chrome Dome.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
That's
Where's
right.
that volume knob?
Take some of that Arizona
that's pretty
dust
funny.
and pat it on there and take some of that shine
Yeah.
off. I'm trying to fly my plane.
That's funny. Well, this has been a really great year. We really want to shout out special thanks to Shannon for joining us here. We
Thank you.
We're very special to have him, and he's going to continue with us. So we're excited for this coming up year. If you've been with us for a while, then you know that in January of 2025 is going to be our 10th season. So it's kind of a milestone. It seems like just yesterday we were in our 5th season, and we were like, oh, maybe one more year, and here we are, almost 10 seasons later. So we've had people that have followed us from the beginning, and I was lucky enough to have lunch with Doug from North Carolina. He's been on the podcast once or twice and come out to the Electric Festival, with to come fly with us. And we've been out to his place, so it was really kind of a lucky that we were in town at the same time, because he had sent me a text, hey, I came in and I just happened to be off. So we grabbed lunch. Yeah, we grabbed lunch. And, we had a new event this year. We talked about earlier. I mean, it's kind of close to our last couple of podcasts, but, Tony set up a new event because Best in the West got canceled this year, and that worked out really well. And as much as we, thought it was going to, conflict, it didn't. It helped. It helped your event. We've got, Tim Dickey that was on this year. That was kind of exciting to hear some of those. And going all the way back to the beginning of the year was the Electric Festival, which was pretty exciting to have everyone there. So it's been a good year. We appreciate all of our listeners. Definitely, if you haven't already, check out our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, give us a, thumbs up. I do get, messages pretty much on a regular basis where we have new subscribers. I think that has everything to do with the Uber drivers that advertise for us, but
It's funny because I have it on my mug. Yeah, I have it on my mug, and I have it sitting right there, sitting there. And I mean, at least 2-3 times a week. Hey, what's Park Flyer Podcast? I'm like, oh, it's Park Flyer Podcast I'm on. And I actually had just the other night, 2 people were really excited about it. So should get some subscribers.
Some subscribers.
And then the one was in aerospace. So she was like, oh, I work with aerospace.
Better.
She's like, yeah, my brother plays with drones. I'll listen. So I'm like, cool.
That's funny. Well, and it surprised me too that we have people that really aren't into flying, but they've given us some good feedback, and just basically, hey, you guys are good. And I think Tony told me one time he enjoys listening because it's just a conversation. It's not that we're out there trying to sell something or give these massive opinions of you should get this because of this. We're not really paid actors to promote any products or anything.
We're not shells.
But we're willing.
Shills to the man.
We are willing, yeah. I mean, if you want to send me your product,
shills.
I'll be happy to look at it. It's not that hard. Yeah, a little bit goes a long way.
That's right. We can
Doors
convert
open.
quick.
Yeah, no doubt. All of a sudden I get, although I don't know, Scott was telling me the other day, he's like, man, I feel bad. All my airplanes are over at your house. He said, maybe I should just rent an apartment in Phoenix and then I can just go fly all the time. And I told him I didn't mind, but yeah, I've got a few of his airplanes. And matter of fact, this one right here that's sitting behind me on the table is, he just got that one. So, but I enjoy it. It's good for me. And compared to when I first got my stuff in the shop here, I can't stuff any more airplanes in the shop anymore. It's like I'm having to stack.
I think if you get creative, I think you can find a few more places for planes. You got still.
Well, I probably could. There's some of the stuff. I'm not hanging anything.
No, he's not
yet.
hanging anything.
Not
like I said, he's not.
Okay.
He's not used. How high is the ceiling where the RV's at?
It's like 10 feet.
It's high enough.
Well, the RV
It's higher.
RV garage is 20.
It's higher than
feet,
10
yeah.
feet. Yeah, it's 20 feet. There
No,
you
the
go.
RV garage is 20 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I could. The only
if you got
problem.
creative, you could go crazy in there.
That's true. The only problem is I'd need a sky lift, to drive around in there to get that stuff off, or I would have to put like.
And you make it sound like that's you
bunch
can't
of dumb
overcome
waiters,
it.
like
Yeah, a bunch of
I'm sure if we went
But
to
actually-
our listeners, they could come up with a method or something that you could utilize.
I'm sure.
No, they're
Well, we
out
can-
there.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. We can. Well, actually, that would be great for the 2025. Come up with a. If you're a listener, then come up with a way that I can creatively store my airplanes.
Wait. It's just as well that you don't do this. we don't.
It's probably true.
I could just hear Arlie just like what you're doing. What?
Yep,
you're moving out
I'm
the
telling
RV. You're
you.
not going to be cleaning it so you can hang a plane.
Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh. I
I would lose that whole battle at the first time that one of those things came off of the ceiling and went flying into the side of the RV. Then I would probably hear
like I
all
said,
about it.
We could put our listeners' efforts of good ideas to some other areas of your shop as opposed to.
That's probably true. Yeah, probably true.
Because it's not going to end well.
Funny. No. Well, I could always just, chalk it up. Hey, thanks to listener so-and-so, I got a divorce over his idea.
That's right. We're coming to your house.
Feel bad. So now I'm moving over to him. No, I'm just kidding. My wife is very, very patient. And as long as I keep it all in the shop.
She's not going to, It won't surprise. Michael did what? I can't believe it. That's not, I've never heard her say ever.
Never heard something out of my wife's mouth. Michael did what? No, you don't ever hear that.
He did that. He would never do that.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard her say that. You guys did what?
That's right.
That's more of a. I can't believe that you guys would do that today of all days. That's more.
You
that's
couldn't
more
wait.
the
That's
line.
what it is. You couldn't wait till tomorrow to do that. That's what you had
We're
to
not doing
anything.
anything. Yeah, you had to do it today. We were supposed to meet somebody somewhere in 2 hours, and now we have to go to the emergency room. That's more like how the day goes.
Well, it's funny because we were when we had to go pick her car up. Had a flat, and we had to go get it, and so we were talking in the truck on the way down, and AK Mike had just visited me, and we had a great time, and now he's down at your place.
Yep,
as a matter of fact, this weekend.
He ran off somewhere.
I know, right? Because he's like, "Oh, podcast, I'm out of here." No. Anyway, we were talking about birthdays coming up, and Jay has this. I told her, I was like, well, next year is our 10th year, and it's hard to believe, and things have just kind of, all the people that I work with are looking at retiring, and it's just like it's different. It's a different feel for this next go around. And anyway, I couldn't believe it because she was talking about it, and I mentioned your birthday is going to be a milestone as well, and I started looking back, and I go, holy smokes, man! Jay and I have known each other for over 35 years. I mean, we met each other, and I found, it kind of triggered me because I found a picture, and I'll send it to Jay. He can post it up for you guys on YouTube, but I found a picture of Jay and I when we graduated college, the two of us. Jay actually had hair. It's these two young 20. Yeah, I did too. These two young 20-something-year-old kids, and then I look at us now and I just think, wow, where did our lives go? But my wife was basically saying that she's like, yeah, it's hard to believe, because I've actually known Jay longer than I've known my wife, so it's kind of odd that she was, and we're celebrating.
Don't tell her that. Don't keep telling her that.
Oh, no, that's all right. That got me in trouble my first go around, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've been married before Jane and my first wife. But anyway, that's a totally different news subject on a different podcast.
We could have a different podcast for that one. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Another
those stories themselves would keep you guys in stitches.
Yeah, there's been many nights that Jay and I actually got kicked out of the library at college one time because we were howling there, laughing so hard the librarian came and said, "Okay, you guys got to go. You guys are being too loud." And all it was stories about me and my brother when we were kids.
Oh yeah, so, you trying to jump your brother with the bike? Yeah,
that's true.
I was going to call child services, but you were already an adult, so I was like, yeah, that's not going to do it.
Can't go back.
Too late.
But,
funny enough, though, I've never ever met your brother. So I've never seen Michael,
crazy,
Mike and his brother together in the same room. So I don't know if he actually exists. So
I can send. Yeah, I do have pictures. Yeah, there are family photos. I do have a younger brother.
He always looks fuzzy.
He's not that much
in
younger.
Those photos. I don't know.
He looks a little pixelated. Looks like a cardboard cutout.
Yep. I don't know.
I think he listens to this too, man. I'm going to get a divorce from my brother.
Talking to your mom, and when I talk to your mom or dad, it's not like they go, Can you imagine what this is? What those boys did when they were 8? Usually those stories do not start like that with your talking to your mom or your dad. It's something you did, and maybe your brother was involved, or something your brother did, and then maybe you did, came along later. But it's never,
true.
Those guys, they're wiseacres, and they're this, or they did that. You know what they did? And your biggest story to me is you're the truck, with your dad. Oh my gosh, the truck. That's hilarious one.
But that was at scout camp, actually. That was terrible. Yeah, that was I don't know. That's one of those that you relive back, back and back. The one with the car too, where he backed into the garage, and poor Shannon's like, "What the heck are you guys talking about?" I mean, we're going back so many years.
I missed out on so much. I wish I met you guys.
Did. Don't worry.
30 years ago.
You'll get filled in. Whether you want to or not.
Kind of related. My friend Eddie, who does the
t-shirts.
Yeah,
Eddie, right? Yep.
We've been friends for after like 30 years now too. It was the Jet Rally in 1994 that I first met Eddie. And or 93, I don't know, 93, 94, but it was just totally random, and I get known her longer than I've known Tammy, but always a part of my life.
Once again, don't mention that too much to your wife.
And some crazy stories.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. Well, we may have to have just a segment of crazy stories for the listeners, just for old time's sake. We could just do it there and be like, hey,
5.
this is.
I'm sure we can.
This is not RC podcast today. This is a great. Who has the worst story?
We should do the Real Housewives of the Park Flyer podcast episode where the
That's true. We should do that.
I think we should do that. Because they can be like, we don't know what these guys are doing, but we don't get it. No, but
as hilarious as that would be, I mean, I think that is absolutely a great idea. But I can guarantee you, knowing Becky and Arlie both would be, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I mean, Arlie might do it if I tried to coax her into it. Becky would probably be like, I'm not getting on no podcast. Forget it.
Well,
what am I going to say?
She'd probably do it if she was sitting over in the background and we were trying to tell the story and we told it wrong. And then that's not
the correct. That's exactly right. And then that's usually where our conversations go anyways. Jay'll start telling me something. She'll be like, what are you talking about? And then she'll stick her face in there and tell me the story. And Jay will be like, okay, you just tell the story.
That's not the way it happened.
They have to do it so literal. Jay and I are good storytellers. We can really make it big, even though it was just small. The fish was this big, It was really a minnow. So, well, tell me, Shannon, what was your highlights of the year? This is kind of being a review. We're just kind of BSing, but what is it?
I think the thing is, we did a lot of live, or
we did
pseudo live events. We did AEF, of course. We did
Warbirds
and Classics, right?
Warbirds and Classics.
Yeah, and then I went and did the thing with Barrett at his shop. That was kind of fun. And then I went with him to St. George and did a story after that. So I just I think we've expanded what we do. It's like we did the shows in the studio like this most of the time. We did AEF, and then we've expanded. And
right.
I think if we can do, a couple more of those going forward, I just think it really adds to it. Because I think, we're sitting out at the Jet Rally and talking and, and having
that's why we get the most comments too. Yeah. We get the most of our
and the most views,
those.
believe it or not. Almost some of our biggest podcast views in a single setting have always been at the events.
Yeah.
EA.
We just, I think we just gotta
cards, and people are starting to see it. And,
I think one of the things we definitely have to do is, take more pictures. We got to work on our sound systems. A couple of things. We can get it going.
Yeah, I actually have to compliment you.
Great. Yeah,
it does, and I have to compliment you that the last YouTube, deal that you did was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I ran through all that B-roll, just kind of walking around, but I really liked that we were talking, and you kind of, I know it's kind of hard to edit, but there were several airplanes we were talking about that all of a sudden we were just like right there, so it was really kind of a good edit. I mean, I don't follow up on the YouTube channel a lot because I don't hear it already.
Well, you
and
listen
then I
to
edit
it 15
it
times while you're doing the other podcast,
right.
so I get it.
And then I just kind of glance at it when it comes out on YouTube. I look at it and I go, and I kind of fast forward through it, because I've heard it, 15 times.
Yeah.
But this one, I really did. I listened to the whole thing just because I was interested to see, even though I've already heard all that stuff and I'm the one actually talking about it, so I kind of know what I said already. But it looked really good, and I do think that you are correct that next year we should probably focus more on getting some,
because you guys
B-roll
like,
or some of that stuff.
What was the thing right before? What was the event right before that? That video that you
no, it was Tony's.
Right.
Sun Valley Flyers,
because in there you had sent me just a short B-roll, and once again we got quite a few comments of people they liked that you guys were talking in the background, and I kind of faded out, and they were walking around the event, and I was able to sync up what you guys were talking about, and people could see it, and people were commenting about that they liked that, and that it kind of brought the whole event to the forefront to be able to see what was going on in the background, walk amongst the planes. And, as you guys were talking about the event, and that was kind of nice. So, yeah, if we, the more, like I said, this program that we're using, it gets easier and easier to use because they keep coming out with new things. And I'm just thinking,
every
the
week.
more we start, yeah, exactly. And
it's
if
crazy.
we can apply this stuff a little bit more, it's just going to make the show just that much better for us and for our viewers. Because, like I said, when we show up at an event or working on a task, like one of the things I'd like to see for next year, as we're working on planes and as we've been trying to push some shorts and stuff out, and we've been experimenting with that. And I just think we miss a lot of opportunities while we're working on our planes, which it may be to us a mundane thing, but once again to our viewers or just talking to Mike Barslew, he'll go, oh, yeah, I was using that glue, and I was wondering, how do you apply it before? And I was like, yeah, I showed you before. Yeah, how do you do that? And I'm like, oh, well, you just look at this video. And I'm just thinking, well, I was just doing this like 3 weeks ago. And if I just would tape it 5 minutes, a little short, at something stored that people could pull up, to get their brains going, oh, that's how you use this, or this is how I could use it for this thing that I'm doing. I think people would really like that. So I think for us, as we're building things or building our birthday gifts or doing something, when we add, like, we're talking about warbirds and like just painting and details. If we start taping more of that, I think the viewers would definitely get a better kick out of some of our shows. We can do that. But once again, our shops aren't set up for that stuff. But luckily I have great friends. And my birthday, not my Christmas gift came in, and I got this cool light that you see I'm being mesmerized by.
That's right.
I don't have my shop set up to take pictures, but, with my phone or, I do have some recording stuff. I just need to set that stuff up and we can get that done.
Yeah. And I agree. And, my shop is kind of set up to do that. I've got, it wouldn't be very much difficult, or wouldn't be much. It would not be very difficult for me because we use the items that I have here in the shop. We use out at the field to videotape us anyway, or to record us, and I could just set something up and do it.
Yep.
And I can come up there and join you sometime, or you could do a little build thing,
be
or
just a
bring
little
something
build
along.
or do whatever. And we definitely need to do that, and that's awesome. And then I think too, with being our 10th year or 10th season, we need a better way to interact as well. And I think what you were talking about earlier about doing the shorts, that you and I both have that problem. I know I sat next to Shannon at the last event, and he's on Facebook watching a little video, 30 seconds worth of video, just I think he got bored of listening to me talking. He just was like, okay. But it's all of us kind of get I just was talking to a neighbor today, and we were talking about the pitfalls of the 30-second YouTube reel, because he's like, he goes, have you ever just like opened your phone and you went to go look at something, and then next thing you know, you're going down the rabbit hole? He goes, and then you look up and it's like an hour later. And I looked at him, I started laughing, and I was like, an hour later? I go, dude, I've done it where it's like half a day missing, where I was like watching a video that turned to a 30-minute video, turned to an hour video. And then I'm thinking, why am I so hungry? Holy crap, it's 8 o'clock at night.
Sun's gone down
here all day. So I do think that that's advantageous, and let us know in the comments, or shoot us an email or whatever. And now that we have our comments open, it's easier for people to make comments. I didn't realize that we had them closed for so many years, but.
Well, what did I call you up with last week? I was like, hey, our videos aren't going out. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I was looking at I just worked on this video, editing this video for an hour or two, and I just went to go view it, and I got a podcast.
It's not there.
Where'd it go? So we're definitely learning new things.
Yeah. It was pretty funny, because I'm like watching it while he's talking to me going, I don't know what your problem is. I see it right here. But it's just the way that YouTube uploads, because we use a company called Blueberry, and Blueberry actually funnels it out to all the web crawlers. And Mike mentioned one time that he's a YouTube subscriber, and he's like, hey, I don't ever get your podcast on YouTube. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's on there. Jay puts it on there, every time we do one, he just uploads it. He goes, no, I don't watch it. He said, I got YouTube Music, and I can't if I'm in the car, I can't watch it. I just listen to it. And I was like, so I jumped in there and found that, on our website portion, that we can actually upload it, to, like, we're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon. I mean, all the huge, big crawlers, they have all of our stuff. So if you're, one of those individuals that listens to that stuff, you can find us on there. But for YouTube, for some reason, the box didn't get checked. So I went in and found that, and I was like, oh, look, it's not checked. So I checked the box, and it said, okay, your YouTube, every time you publish one, it's going to go to YouTube as well. What I didn't know is that it uploaded 9 seasons worth of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So it went through and uploaded all of them,
the entire
to
library,
our YouTube. So now when you go to our YouTube and you look for our page, it'll have one video, and then it'll have another video that's actually an audio. So it just shows the logo for the whole time. But it's actually a YouTube Music podcast and not an actual YouTube video. Anyway, Jay was pulling that up, and he's like, I can hear it, but I can't see it. What's going on, And I started laughing. He was in a panic, because it was like, I don't know what to do. It's supposed to come out, and it's not there. And anyway, it was funny, because I was on a trip, and, I'm sitting in the hotel room, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm listening to it and watching it right now where we're talking. But and then, I don't know if, TikTok or, Instagram or whatever. Maybe we should do that this year too.
We posted a couple that way. We did a couple reels. Yeah, I think I just haven't had a chance to keep it up. So maybe I'll consciously make an effort. Okay, let's, I'll put it on a calendar or something. Hey, post a reel.
Yeah, I think the podcasting software that we use is a company called Riverside. We're going to give them a shout out, because that was a company we went to, what Jay, about 2 years ago? We were using someone else, and about two and a half years ago, whenever they first came out, I decided I wasn't really happy with the other company. It was very limiting.
Yep.
You can only have
we
like
used Skype before that, I think, or something.
We did. We used Skype, and we used something else that was another.
I can't think of the name of it right now.
I can't think of another.
But ever since we started using Riverside, we've been amazed by it, because not to bore you guys with how we put these things together, but when you have 3, 4, 5 people talking, it's hard to sync everybody up, right?
Right.
And then when we said, oh, we're going to start doing videos, it's even harder to sync up, 5 audios or 3 audios with everybody's mouth, without looking like a Chinese theater, kung fu theater
a bad Godzilla movie.
Yeah, somebody coughs, somebody does whatever, it
Right.
throws in a lag, or their video, their not video, but their web connection was slower, so they were lagging a little bit or whatever, and so that lag would get in there, and you're like trying to cut and slice that guy for when we were doing whole hours, it takes you a long time to slice up and find all those things to put them into the same speech thing that everybody else is at. Oh my gosh, that was hard. And this Riverside, it doesn't care. You could be talking on the phone, walking through the woods, and it syncs everybody up, does all that stuff behind the scenes. You don't have to do anything. It's wonderful.
And it's gotten better every week. The guys that run Riverside come out. I get an email literally weekly.
Yeah. Yes.
At least in the past 6 months. It's almost weekly where they go, hey, everybody, we added one more feature. We added 5 more features. We've added, all this stuff. And the most amazing thing now is that they actually have incorporated their AI into the podcast software. And I suspect at any moment now we can just put our faces up here and AI can do the whole podcast, but that's just me. I don't think it's come to that yet. That's right. You look like an AI guy. Yeah, we're just a figment of your imagination. But yeah, they've actually gotten to the point now where we can do live episodes, and we should try that next year too. I know that we do all these so that they come out on a regular basis, but we should probably put something together where we could interact with,
like Donahue,
a live. Yeah, right. Long time listener, first time caller. No, but we could do a live.
We could definitely use some input from our call or from our listeners if if that's something they want us. Like when there's an event, you guys show up and something cool's going on. If we pop on live, do they are they going to watch? Do they want to watch something like that, or once again, we don't want to waste their time, type of thing. So.
No, that's true. And, a lot of people just listen in the car or, when they're in their shop or doing whatever. And we appreciate that. Trust me, we love meeting our listeners. I've met a lot of them at some of these events. It's very weird, when people come up and they're like, hey, how's it going? I'm so-and-so, I'm a listener. And I'm just like, really? It's because I don't see myself as, a podcast host in that term, right? I'm not Joe Rogan or somebody where everybody knows, but it is kind of interesting to, not even close. But it is interesting to meet guys and then have them talk about, whether episodes or, what they say, oh yeah, I listened to this episode, or, like I said, even Tony, stopped me and, I like listen all the time.
And
I'm
he
like,
stopped
wow.
me too.
Yeah, he stopped you. He stopped you for a different reason. But we love Tony.
Oh yes.
And so, so this next year we're looking forward to, more events, kind of getting out there and getting our listeners more involved. Maybe we could, I was looking at some of the stuff that I have here. My wife was asking me, she's like, why do you have all these? I actually had a friend over and a neighbor actually. They're like, wow, you have a lot of airplanes. And I'm like, yeah. My wife's like, yeah, he won't ever get rid of any. And I was like, it's because each one has
that one.
Right. Well, it's not even that. It's like I was telling my neighbor that a lot of the things that are sitting in my shop or out in my, my RV garage are gifts. I mean, Jay can walk through he can walk through my entire collection and probably a third of the ones I purchased on my own. Most of them were given to me or I acquired them, or they were birthday or Christmas or in the OV10, that was a gift because I had helped a guy and Scott and he appreciated it. And he's like, what can I do for him? And Scott's like, it's a great airplane. You should get him one of these. So I have a lot of that stuff. And then some of it I save for when Jay comes out to fly or AK Mike comes out to fly, or we were just outside when he was here flying the erratics in my yard. So, it's just stuff that I'm like, yeah, I may not fly that every day, but at the same time, when so-and-so comes over, we get to play, and it's here, as opposed to, I've got this huge turbine and, it takes an hour to put together and get it all geared up, ready to fly, and the maintenance. And then, and then you can't fly it, right? Cause you're just there. So I don't enjoy flying for someone unless it's the news media at the Arizona Electric Festival. But I don't enjoy flying if someone is just standing around. I much prefer either flying with someone, like when Jay and I fly together or Shannon and I fly together, or if I see someone like AK Mike that goes out and I can watch him fly and see the excitement in his eyes, right? That's, for me personally, that's what gets me back into that, yeah, this is awesome, kind of thing, that camaraderie of just watching someone learn. And yeah, they can hand me the sticks and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's fun. And when I'm by myself, I love to go out and just, relax and fly on my own or fly the turbines or whatever. But it's more fun when I'm with the group or with someone that is exciting and seeing things for the first time.
Definitely.
And, Scott Berryman, he's a great guy, good friend of mine. I've known him about as long as I've known Jay. And, he's all excited. He's flying every day. And to watch, I'm so excited about this little turbine because he hasn't flown one. He wants to get it. And so now to watch that transition, I get an update. He's like really burning the batteries up at this EDF, trying to get ready to come up here and learn to fly.
Yeah, so who's the enabler now, Mike?
Yeah, well, you can pass along your skill. I don't mind.
It's a two-way street.
That's right.
And trust me, those airplanes aren't at his house. They're at my house. See, they're here.
I know.
So I don't know who's enabling who.
So once again, Scott's a genius. Had I known that, I would have been dumping my planes off at your place and have them built, maintained. This is what I've been doing this all wrong. This whole time. This hobby.
Podcast FBO.
Yeah, that's right. It is an FBO.
That's right.
Well, the bad news is he's got a P-38 over at Wayne Lanes, so he's got us both doing it. He's smart. He's a genius. Genius that guy is. My phone's going to ring any second now, I can tell you. He's going to be like, I'm listening to you live. Oh, that's funny. But it's exciting for me. Every time he calls, he's like, oh, I shouldn't be calling you. I know you're busy. And I'm like, no, dude, I love to hear the stories about him out there. He's already to the point. He told me the other day when he called me that he was out by himself, and then this 80-year-old guy showed up. And he looked at Scott and said, man, you're a good pilot. Can you help me with my plane? And Scott's like, yeah, sure, And so he went to go check it out. And he's looking at it, and he's like, this doesn't seem right. And yeah, the rudder was going the wrong direction, or the elevator was going the wrong direction. So he's like, normally this guy would have just flown. He goes, that airplane would never have made it off the ground. It would have cartwheeled because, it's backwards. And he's like, the guy was like so thankful that I saved his airplane because, he was holding the stick and all he had to do was, okay, here we go. And, just full forward stick, and now your airplane goes right into the ground. So he's kind of, learning that too, and he's been helping this guy, and so now Scott's kind of got a couple of guys that are coming up going, hey, can you help me with this? And Scott's, getting excited about it. So I enjoy that part. And next year, earlier in the year, I think the first part of this next year, we've got Wyatt that's coming on, and he's a younger guy, and it's exciting to see the young guys get in and get involved, and maybe we can kind of get his little group to give us some pointers and tell us a little bit how to reach some of those younger pilots, because I've seen it. I mean, just watching at this last event, your event, just had some kids. I took a picture of Max and I said, hey, you're not going to believe, I sent it to Scott. I said, you're not going to believe who won the grand champion kind of, the choice award or whatever, and the contest director's choice award. And he's like, who? And I said, it's this kid. He was like, holy cow. And I'm like, yeah, he's like 10 or 12 or 11 or something like that. I said, he just outflew everybody. And it was crazy because I was laughing. Dude, I was laughing my head off at him because he was such a good kid, right? He's very respectful, but he would walk up to some of these team pilot guys for like Horizon or, whoever else was out there. And he'd go, hey, and then it'd start telling them, if you do this and you do this and then you do this, it'll work much better. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm getting scolded by a 12-year-old, And these guys I have to admit, these guys are really good because they were looking at him, they go, you think? And then he'd be like, yeah, you can do this and this. And he'd be like, oh, okay, well, let me try that. And he'd go up and try it. But it was great that he has the confidence and the ability to do all that. And he was flying the crap out of that
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked. I mean, I'm somewhat conservative. I'll do some crazy stuff with some of my airplanes, but that guy, he just had so much confidence. And every time he went and flew, the whole place would stop and turn around and look at him. So having that younger group, kind of in there is kind of exciting, hopefully. But anyway, it's going to be a great year. I'm looking forward to it. Looking back, it's just like this year just zipped by. I don't know where the whole thing went. And according to my father, who will be 80 this year, I think. Holy smokes. I didn't realize he's getting up there. But yeah, he said it doesn't slow down the further out you go. That's what he told me.
He's up, I think.
He goes, the day I retired from work, my life just sped up like a freeway, man. He's like, it took me forever to get to that retirement date. And then the day I retired, he said, I'm busier than I ever was when I was working. And he goes, and every time I wake up, I'm like, holy cow, where did the last 20 years go? And I told him, I was like, well, I'm not looking forward to that, where time just zips on by. But what do they say? Time waits for no man.
That's
right.
it.
Something like that. So we just kind of got to deal with it. But yeah, it's crazy. What was some of your highlights, Jay? I mean, you obviously came out for the
my biggest thing I think this year has been some of the projects that I've been trying to get myself, because I'm always thinking, hey, what can we do for the next show, or what can help us out.
Right.
And so finally, here it is at the close of the year. Like I said, Mr. Barcelou came down to push me over the edge to finally finish a project, complete it. And it's right back here. If you guys remember, I got a laser, laser,
yeah.
and I was working on it and modding it and stuff. And finally, we got it to cut and replaced the laser tube and got all the electronics working like it's supposed to. And so we were really excited, because first it wasn't cutting. It was working, but it wasn't cutting like I see the videos and people, I could barely cut cardboard. I'm like, I even got a more powerful, tube, and it's barely getting through that, and guys were like, yeah, I put on 5% power and one pass, and it cuts through like 15 stacks of cardboard. And we're just putting one piece on there, and it's like, and we're like, okay, something's not right.
So we've been butter in the summertime,
basically, right? So finally, we were tweaking with it and fiddling with stuff, and we finally cracked the code on it. And it just turns out that it was piss poor maintenance in the sense that we let the lenses get dirty, and with all our trials and errors, and the lenses just got caked with, I shouldn't say caked, but they definitely just got it didn't look that bad to me, just a light film of dust or dirt on the lens, but man, cleaning that off makes a huge difference. And also knowing where your focal length, where your laser is at too. And after that, we got that kind of cleared up, and then we kind of figured out the power situation, and next thing you know, it started sounding like a laser.
Yeah.
And, we're like, ooh, what's that sound? It's working. Hey, hey, there's like
doesn't
light.
Sound like in Star Wars. Pew pew pew.
Doesn't quite sound like that, but it definitely makes it. On the right material, it makes a sound that turns your head a little bit, and you're like, ooh, let me make sure that that beam's not getting out of that enclosure.
Right.
I definitely want to make sure I have my
funny.
Laser glasses on, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
so
too
I'm really
funny.
excited now that like I said, this is just cardboard stuff. But this, as I was looking through some of the different websites, it's amazing what's out there for just simple cardboard, and you can cut yourself out a plane, or an artistic plane for a wall hanger, all sorts of stuff. So now I'm really excited, since now we were able to actually cut plywood. Because Mike's like, yeah, that's not going to go through there. After the whole thing, with the cardboard, he's like, you can't cut through plywood. And I'm like, everybody says you can. And we actually cut through it. And I'm like, woohoo, we cut through plywood now. I think it could handle balsa wood. So I'm excited, because that means I can make short kits and just other little things that I've been wanting to try, or for you guys to try and to help everybody out. Yeah, there you go. So like I said, I got plenty of things to repair back there. A lot of broken firewalls, this, that, the other thing. Kits that aren't made anymore, and now I can replicate or remake it without having to use more traditional tools. I can either get the plans, or those parts might be out there for me to download, and I can cut them out.
Right.
So I'm really excited. So I'll take you guys through the journey as we're going through it.
Yeah,
see how
that'll
it
be a
goes.
great one, because that's always kind of neat to see. Sometimes things will get broke or whatever. Like Scott and I were talking about the my MXS, and I broke the the firewall, not the firewall, but right behind the firewall. And I got a new firewall, but I would need a new fuselage because of the the way the wood comes up, and so I have to be able to attach the firewall to something that's broke. So yeah, it'll be interesting if we can make something trace it out or do something. Now, is there software that you just trace it? What software do you use to run that?
You could use multiple. So like what you're talking about, you could use like MS Paint, Paint Draw program, just a simple paint program to outline. Like if you were to take a picture of like the parts that, let's say, you had the front part of the fuselage and then you had the rear part, or like I said, the firewall, and then what was broken was like smashed, so you couldn't really tell what it was. But if you put them close enough together, took a picture with your phone, well, with MS Paint, you can just highlight, and join the pieces, right? And then you can import that into the software for like Lightburn that cuts it. And Lightburn doesn't care that it's a 3-dimensional object. It just looks at it as a 2-dimensional flat object, right? So it just joins them up together. So if you drew the lines to connect them, it just looks at it as a 1-dimensional flat object. It doesn't care that it was 3-dimensional.
Gotcha.
And then you just go and cut it out, and it just cuts it. And it's so satisfying basically to watch stuff drop off, just perfect cut, and it just falls on the grate in the bottom. You're just like, oh, that's so cool.
Right.
So I'm just discovering a new satisfaction of watching things when it all works. And it's just like, wow, did we do that? That was cool. So.
Oh, what little things impress us, right?
I know. Very easy.
It used to be big things. Now it's the smallest things. And hey,
it is.
I actually got up in the middle of the night. I slept through the night. That's impressive.
That's right. I didn't have to get up 15 times.
Well, we're excited. That's a good journey to take us through, especially if you're designing RC parts, and that'd be kind of a neat thing.
And if I can do it, you can do it. That's the big thing that I'm trying to put out.
Yeah, let's let me clean up my shop a little bit before I wind up having some UPS driver show up with a laser at my front door, though. Please, would you? That's usually how it works. I got a 3D printer over here.
Not yet. That's
okay.
For when you're
that's for another time.
Your retirement, when you can put full days in and go, hey, what happened? Wasn't I supposed to do? I think I was supposed to go to the hospital on Monday. What? It's Friday.
That's right. Man. Didn't I have a doctor's appointment this week? And that was 2 weeks ago. Son, you've been. My wife's coming in. This is funny. The other day I was in here, and I've been in here all day, and I was doing something or whatever, and then she comes walking in there, and she goes, here, I don't want you to wither away, and she set down, something to eat in front of me, and I was like, oh, is it lunch already? And she just scoffed at me and turned around and walked off, and I realized that my clock over here said 8:30 or something like that, but the battery had died, so I thought it was like 8:30, and it was not. It was like 12 hours later. Just my battery had gone dead. So now I actually have a clock on each wall just in case. I'll look at that one and go, "Is that correct?" I'll turn around and look at this one and go, "Oh, okay, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is 8:30 at night."
Your man cave to turn into like Las Vegas, where there are no clocks, so you can't tell what time it is. That's kind of bad.
And I actually did that. That's why I got clocks in here, because when I first kind of had the shop, I was in here, and next thing I know, she's bringing me eggs, and I'm like, why'd you bring me eggs? And she's like, well, it's 7:30 in the morning. You've been working all night. I'm like, I was wondering why I was dragging. I was so tired here. It was terrible. She's like, yeah, we've already been sleeping. So that's the only bad thing. Because when, at my other house, before I built this shop area, all the lights would go out, and then I'd hear, the dogs would disappear, and it's in the house, so I'd be like, hey, where'd everybody go? And I realized they're all in the bedroom. But here I'm in a totally different location that's attached to the house, but it's got a different entrance. So I could be in here. Now it is the wall behind me with the television on it is attached to my master bathroom. Actually, it's attached to the master closet, I think, or something. But so if she wanted to, she'd come bang on the, hey, I'm going to bed, and I'd be like, oh, somebody's banging on the wall.
She's not going to do that.
She's not going to do that. No. It was funny. Yeah, because, as soon as I get up and start walking towards the garage door, she's like, are you going to the shop? And I go, yeah. So I think this year for Christmas, I'm going to get her an intercom system. So that way when she's in the other room, I can have an intercom. She can just push a button and just yell at me. And if I don't want to hear it, I can turn it off. That's it. Yeah. If you're not going to starve. So normally I'm the one that cooks, though. So she's like, are we going to eat? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I should go in there and cook my wife something to dinner. She likes it when I cook. So she's a good cook, too, but I do a lot of it. So I'm Mr. Kitchen Gadget. So, well, it is going to be a great year next year, I think. I'm very excited for it. And we're looking forward to, a lot of stuff. Whatever you celebrate, what do we say? Happy Chris Kwanzaa. That covers everybody, I think. And
that's right.
And Festus for the rest of you, for
Festus.
AK Mike.
Festivus.
He's a Festivus.
Festivus, yep.
Festivus.
Now
So-
for the airing grievances.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
The sad part is that's been off the air long enough now that there's people that don't understand that reference.
Yeah.
Hard to believe, but yeah, Seinfeld was a great show. We hope you have had a good year with us as well. If you are a listener, please, once again, give us a like, a subscribe, share this with someone if you could. That does help our channel grow. And we are constantly looking for, ideas and suggestions. So basically, jump onto the YouTube comment section and give us a comment. We do try to respond to those. And, at least I know Barrett just sent me a photo, and he's posted a couple. So we appreciate his comments in there as well. And yeah, if you want us to tackle a project, or, if you have something for us, then just shoot us an email at theparkflyerpodcast@gmail.com. We pick that up and comes right to my phone, and I'll try to get you an answer. But yeah, we've always looking for projects or something that you can suggest, and if you have an event that we can promote, we'd love to hear you about that too. There's plenty of events all over the country, so we can love to talk about it. Send us a picture, or post on our Facebook page. We have Park Flyer Podcast Listeners Group Facebook page. How many do we have? We have more members than that now too, don't we? I mean, we're up to a couple hundred or so.
Several hundred, yeah. We're doing good.
So I think, what's that?
I'm just looking to see if I can.
Oh, he's looking it up. Yeah, people, they kind of could come to an event, or they talk to us or whatever, and then they jump on their Facebook group and see what's happening. And I was going to check one more statistic for us.
Yeah, we have 158 members on Park Flyer Podcast listeners.
On the listeners group. So yeah, we can always have more. So yeah, we've officially posted over 70,000 listeners. That's crazy. 70,000, show listens. So that's incredible. And then we have currently 200. This will be our 250th episode. So how do you like that? 250 episodes. This is the last one of this year, and that closes us out at 250. So that's a pretty big milestone too. So we're pretty happy with that.
And we have 291 followers on the Park Flyer podcast, the
Very
old
nice.
one, which we still keep up.
Right. Keep up with that one. Yeah, we have to figure out some Facebook kid that can merge those accounts and see how to do that. So we'll work on some of that this year. I know I always have, good goals and say, okay, we're going to do all this year. And then we start getting sidetracked into different projects and different events. And next thing you know, it's Christmas again. And
Called life.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right? The whole year just went zipping by. But yeah, it's crazy how this year just kind of zipped by. But it's good to catch up and kind of talk about it. I know we didn't really kind of stick with the RC stuff for this one, but it's a good time for us to kind of get together and review everything that we did and kind of chat about our lives in general and just having fun. So we're looking forward to it. But yeah, hard to believe we just closed in on an hour. We're gonna.
This might be a two-parter.
Wrap it up. No, I think we're going to go ahead and release it as an hour. It was a good conversation, and I think people will kind of make through there. It's kind of fun to listen to. But yeah, for the year 2024, we're going to close it out, and we do appreciate once again listening. Like I said, subscribe, send us an email. I'm Michael from here in Arizona.
I'm Jay from the South Texas.
And Shanji in Mesa, AZ.
And we wish you the happiest of holidays. We want you to stick with us, and we will see you next year, which is a little over 2 weeks from now, but we'll see you at our next episode in 2025 for our 10th season. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.